A reading from the Holy Gospel according to Matthew.
Glory to you, Lord.
The Pharisees went off and plotted how they might entrap Jesus in speech. They sent their disciples to him with the Herodians, saying, "Teacher, we know that you are a truthful man, and that you teach the way of God in accordance with the truth. And you are not concerned with anyone's opinion, for you do not regard a person's status. Tell us then, what is your opinion? Is it lawful to pay the census tax to Caesar or not?" Knowing their malice, Jesus said to them, "Why are you testing me, you hypocrites? Show me the coin that pays the census tax." Then they handed him the Roman coin. He said to them, "Whose image is this, and whose inscription?" They replied, "Caesar's." At that he said to them, "Then repay to Caesar what belongs to Caesar, and to God what belongs to God." The Gospel of the Lord. All of us have been put on the spot, and most of us don't like it. In today's Gospel, Jesus is put on the spot. And in spite of that intense kind of pressure, he's able to give us truth that can help guide us in our relationship, not only to one another and to God, but even to our nation. So what's going on in the Gospel today? Well, Jesus is getting a little too hot to handle. He's a threat to the Pharisees and to their religious authority. He's even somewhat of a threat to the political structure of the nation if there's an uprising that follows him as Messiah. That's the thinking of the Pharisees. So they enlist the Herodians. Who were they? Well, the Herodians were those who believed that you could be a Jew and yet pay taxes to Rome, and still that was okay. They kind of believed in a separation of church and state to a degree. The Pharisees were, this is our country, these are foreigners trying to lead us here. We don't want them here. They were tolerant, but really thought that they should be autonomous. So, they thought they had the perfect trap set up for Jesus. If he says, pay the tax without any qualifications or anything like that, it can look like he's siding with the Herodians and lose the favor of many, many people. On the other hand, if he just says, we're not going to pay that census tax, then he's going to look like a rebel to the Romans, and they'll take care of him. So, they present this dilemma to Jesus, hoping to trap him. And of course he says, show me the coin. The Roman coin, Caesar's image on it, they use it for common commerce all the time. Give to Caesar that's his face on there, give it to him. But give to God what belongs to God. You know, the point is this, you and I are in the image of God. So we can give our coins to whoever's got the face on it, I guess, pay our taxes, but we need to give ourselves first and foremost to God. This is beautiful in terms of how it really helps us sort through some of the problems and tensions that we have in our own day. Ought we to pay our taxes? Yes. Even if we don't agree with everything the government's doing? I don't think Jesus agreed with everything that was going on in the Roman government. So we pay our taxes. We as Catholic Christians in the United States have a wonderful opportunity, though, not only to just pay our taxes, but to be involved. We're free people. We have freedom of speech, freedom of the press, freedom of assembly, freedom to petition, to present our problems to the government, and freedom of religion. Thank you. That's why you're here today. You're free to worship God. Freedom of religion. Not just worship God, but express it publicly outside these walls. And when there's a problem or a tension, hopefully we use our freedom of speech, freedom of the press, freedom of assembly, freedom of petition to resolve tensions that may involve religion. Recently, the Health and Human Services mandate saying that all companies, no matter what their religious beliefs are, have to provide things like sterilization, abortion, and contraception to their employees, has been dropped. Why? Because there's been a lot of freedom of speech, freedom of the press, there's been a lot of dialogue to get that resolved. Okay, so that's a wonderful thing. One of the things, though, we need to be aware of that can be a danger for us, it's a danger for any nation, is to move from what we would call patriotism, which is a good virtue, to nationalism, which puts the nation above everything, even above God. When we have nationalism, then we have the seeds for world wars. That's what happened in World War I, World War II, especially World War II. So it's a caution there. Perhaps the thing that keeps us focused and in line is what Jesus said, the second part. Give to God what belongs to God. You and I are made in the image and likeness of God. He's been stamped on us. We belong to Him. And if we remember that, then we'll treat each other as those made in the image and likeness of God, with respect, with dignity, and truly with charity, knowing that, if we have the image of God, we're really, in a sense, loving God when we love the other. We will do those things. And we will then put God in His place and love God by our prayer, by our worship, by our service, by all that we do, by our study, by the fulfillment of our vocation, by following Jesus even when it's costly. He gave His life for us, out of love for us, to free us and forgive us, to give us the hope of eternal life. Ought we not to trust His ways, even when they're difficult? So, let us give to Caesar what belongs to Caesar. Let us live as children of God, honoring the image and likeness of God in each of us, and truly walking the path of Christ. Amen.